There's a shit ton of what I call Famoose that we're provided in life. What I call Famoose is bullshit that is not real, but we were sold it our entire lifeline. Either our entire lifeline as a kid or in our adult life, we were sold a whole bunch of nonsense that is not true. But we were told this to distract us and to keep us from actually succeeding. Part of this Famoose, I will start with the fact that for some reason people think that daily affirmations and all of this giddy nonsense is what actually gets you rich and successful. Daily affirmations, writing down your goals, this, that, or the other. Listen, I'm not saying it'll stop you from success, but it definitely doesn't make you successful. I know people who have notebooks filled with all of their little plans that they never ever ended up going through on, that is filled with all of their daily affirmations of, I am successful, I am good looking, I will do big things in life, and all of that bullshit, and they never ended up getting anywhere. So then the real question at hand is what actually gets us anywhere? Because if it's not affirmations, if it's not incense prayer, if it's not incense motivational, all this giddy shit, then what actually gets you places in life? I let it sink in because I'm hoping that the answer that came to your mind was action. The only actual thing that gets us anywhere in life is action. And it's the fact that if we do not do, we do not learn. And if you're spending time on inaction, which is things such as writing in your notebooks, which is things such as chatting with your friends about how one day you'll be rich and how you'll do this, you'll do that, you're fucking wasting time. There's a degree of that's necessary. Chat with their friends, maybe a motivational talk, I don't know, once every 2 weeks, once a month. Don't get caught up on your little motivational drives every single day talking about how one day you'll do this, how one day you'll do that, because it's a bunch of nonsense and it doesn't tie to anything. Here's another lie. They say that if you say it over and over and over and over, it'll end up coming true. That's a lie. It's not true. You could say one day I'll have a Lamborghini 1,000 times every fucking day. And at the end of your lifetime still can result with you driving that same Toyota Corolla. I promise you, it does not tie to anything. Now, why is affirmations and motivational speaking even tied into anything if this is the truth? It does something. It does do something. And I'll tell you what it actually does so that you know that it maybe is good for something, it's just not good for everything. What affirmations and daily speaking does is it trains your mind to try to make an idea of what the person you're capable of being so you can continue to chase it. So on a daily basis, and I don't have any designated time that I do this throughout the day, it kind of just happens, I remind myself that I'm the fucking man. On a daily basis, I remind myself that no matter what, at departure with any given female, it's their loss. Because I'll continue to get better. I'll continue to speak better, get better looking. I'll continue to get more rich. I'll continue to get better all across the board. My combat will get better. My fitness will get better. All across the board, I'll continue to get better. And no matter at departure with any given female, it's their loss. I convince myself that people can't do things any better than I can do it. Any better than I can do. And I don't care the profession, I don't care what it is at hand, if it's piano, if it's the violin, if it's soccer, if it's MMA, if it's boxing, if it's basketball. If I was to contribute all of my given time to becoming a better basketball person than X, and I was given the same amount of time than they are, I think I could do it better. There's a sense of delusion in this, you understand, right? I understand too. I'm not oblivious to the fact that there's a sense of delusion in this. What I also know is that it's much more beneficial than the flip version of this mindset, which is that, you know, I can only do so much, only capable of so much. Money's not everything, you know. That wasn't God's plan for me. It wasn't God's plan to actually be somebody or actually do things, or actually have nice things in life for me. He made that for other people, but he didn't make it for me. You understand that when you're saying shit like that out of your mouth, that you're making a decision, right? You're making a decision, and as you speak, the universe is listening and saying, okay, fine. You're not gonna be shit in life, we agree. But it's the same thing when you say to the universe that I am gonna be shit in life. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be more than shit, I'm gonna be the shit. And I'm going to be the biggest, and I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to be the most focused, and I'm gonna be the best speaker, and I'm gonna have the most impact. When you're saying these things to the universe is listening up, and it's like, oh shit, you said what? Okay, we could do that, bet. We could do that. But again, watch what I said with all the giddy speaking and the affirmation, the la 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 land. Be careful with all that shit, because just because you said that does not mean that it comes true. What happens following this in order for this formula to execute is that you have to take action. And I don't want to say take action like those motivational speeches, oh, you have to take action, no. I'm not trying to spit any shit here. I'm actually trying to spit out things that will help and benefit your life and maybe open up your mind some. So what does taking action actually look like? I don't know, it depends where you're trying to go. But I'll tell you how you can track action. I can't tell you exactly how to take action because it depends if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you're trying to be a business owner, if you want to be a salesman, if you want to have a job, if you want to be high up in a company but you don't want to have like ownership inside of a company. It depends what you're trying to do. With that being said, I'll tell you how you track action. Action is tracked in numbers, data. Data has made the biggest difference in my life from me being a kid that was making, you know, $10,000 a month, whatever, in high school, but I didn't actually have any fucking money, you know. I was just making a lot of money and I spent a lot of money. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. To now being where I am, I've now bought $1 million house. I have 3 cars. I have a 4-car garage. I'm trying to buy a 4th car, which is supposed to be a Lamborghini Huracan. I'm continuing to level up in life. I didn't mention that I'm 20 years old doing all of this, and I started my empire when I was 17. Let me stop bragging. The biggest pillar that has actually helped me and made a difference from me making that jump from mini entrepreneur to big entrepreneur is data tracking. You have to track data. So if you're planning on starting your first lawn care company, right? And you decide, okay, I'm gonna track a lawn care. I'm gonna start a lawn care company. What do you need to start a lawn care company? Obviously, you need the lawnmower, you need the weed eaters. I don't know, whatever, the bush hedge trimmers, whatever the fuck. You know, I'm not a lawn expert, buddy. But if I was to become one, I would be a better one than you. So you get all of this. Go ahead, you get all of this information that you need to actually get, and there's things that need to be analyzed as soon as you do this. Do you have the money to get all of it? More than likely you don't. Okay, fine. So instead of getting that big $6,000 machine, then we're gonna start with a $300, $400, $500 machine from Home Depot and a weed eater that's fucking electric, that's really fucking annoying, turns off all the time, but it's only $100. So you're $600 in, and now you have a company. All you have to figure out is how do I move around? Excuse me. You can figure that shit out. I'm not gonna tell you that. The biggest part of a company is sales, and then I'm going to get into data tracking here very shortly. So you start with the fact that you need to find a way to get sales. Most people, whenever they're freshly starting a company, they're always going to resort to door knocking. Why? It's the easiest, it's not confusing, it's rather straightforward. Even though when they go and knock these doors, they still do a fucking sucky job. Me knocking doors, I'm gonna close some shit. I'm gonna get some stuff on the schedule. I'm gonna get some people booked in, and I'm gonna tell them that the way that we cut grass, because of the fucking liners that are inside of our weed eaters, it makes the grass go back slower, and it actually makes it greener. And when our lawnmower goes over, it sprinkles out, what do they call that? Grass food or whatever the fuck? Plant food, I don't know. And it makes the grass greener. I'm gonna tell them a whole bunch of shit that's gonna make them go with me rather than whoever is currently cutting their grass. So no matter what, when I go out there, I'm gonna sell some shit. But most people don't know how to get out there and actually sell anything. Anyways, start with door knocking. Quickly, you're gonna realize, and this is where data tracking comes in. If you knock 100 doors, you might get 2 clients out of that. That's kind of fucking scary, because how long does it take to knock 100 doors? Knocking 100 doors is probably, I don't know, 2 days of work. Depends how hard you're working, right? Maybe 2 days of work. I mean, you can knock 100 doors in a day. It's gonna be a pretty fucking tiring day. I have an example that I use in one of my companies because we do digital advertising for other companies. I say, listen, knocking 5,000 doors, how much clients do you think that results in? I don't know, usually they'll say, fucking, I don't know, 10 clients or some shit, $5,000 door, 5,000 doors. And I tell them, you realize that $50 in proper advertising reaches 5,000 people, 5,000 impressions, 5,000 people seeing your business? Realize that, right? $50. So next I'm gonna ask you, how long does it take you to knock 5,000 doors? Fuck. Month and a half? Obviously it depends, you know, what's the volume of this thing, how many crews you got out, is it just yourself, how often you do it? I'm gonna shoot a month and a half for $5,000, 5,000 doors. I'm gonna say probably 2 months. When you could put $50 in advertising to have that same 5,000 people see you, even better than that, you can make the advertising targeting. So it starts to get deeper and deeper as you get on different levels of business, and you realize, shit, data is huge. It's one of the only things that results in actually getting better and leveling up in life is paying attention to your data. So I'm gonna come back from all the business talk because I don't want to confuse some of my audience who do not have businesses and don't know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. Track data within your life. Track how much hours do you actually work a day. Track how much time do you put towards bullshit a day? How much time do you put towards watching porn, scrolling, texting your friends back on nonsense? What other shit do you guys do? I don't know, watching streamers, you know, just gooning over girls, all that shit. Pay attention to how much time you put into that versus how much time you put into building a corporation, building a company, actually getting somewhere in life, actually growing, your mental health, I don't know, reading a fucking book, listening to people who are beneficial to your life speak, such as this. This is a great spend of time, because what I'm doing is I'm stimulating ideas in your mind. I am not doing anything but helping you think right now. Everything that I'm telling you right now, more or less you've heard it or you knew it in one way or another, but I'm stimulating your mind so that you can start to put these things into action. So pay attention to your data. Also, a huge data point is to pay attention to what you get back from the things that you do. What do you get back from texting a girl all day? Not shit. I hope you said not shit, right? You don't get a fucking thing back from texting a bitch all day and night. Sorry, I didn't mean to say bitch. You don't get anything back from texting a woman all day and night. You don't get anything at all. All you get is probably tired, a headache, worn out. You just want to go to sleep now, because it's tiring to communicate with a woman all day and night. On the inverse, what do you get back from maybe cold calling all day in a company? Hopefully you grab a couple of sales, right? What do you get back from being at the gym all day? Get a little stronger, right? What do you get back from going to MMA all day? Get a little better at fighting, right? So pay attention to where your action is put inside of life, because if you pay attention to the data, you will quickly realize where your time should be spent in order to be the most efficient and end up being the most successful human being at the end of everything. When you're lying on your deathbed, you're able to say, you know what? I put time into combat. I put time into fitness. I put time into learning how to speak. I put time into my looks, my facial structure, my attractiveness. I put time into business. I put time into entrepreneurship. I put time into sales. I put time into my skills with women. Because guys, we cannot live without learning how to communicate and talk to women. A guy who has everything else down, but you cannot get women. For some reason, women don't find you attractive. For some reason, women do not want to fuck you. For some reason, women do not want to spend time with you. You will not enjoy this life, I swear to God, unless you're gay. If you're gay, that's your business. But if you're not gay, if you have everything else down and you cannot get down woman, you won't enjoy it. So balance is very important.